Indian pedagogical tradition. The Vedic period, from BC 1000 to BC 600. In ancient India literature of the Vedic period, the word Siddha and Adhyapana frequently occur. Siddha means to learn to recite. In those days, education consists of learning to recite the holy text. The word Adhyapaya, which literally means to go near, implies the idea of Polish going to some teacher for education. The ancient India educational emerged from the Vedas. Veda means knowledge. Education was divided into two kinds of knowledge, the worldly and otherworldly. Education was considered as a mean of emancipation from life bondage. The objective of Vedic education: inculcation of a spirit of pride and rigorousness. The life of men was simple and pious, and was full of religious feelings, ideas, and ideals. As man had a moral standard before him, he performed his duties with great attention and devotion. The main purpose was to enable the individual to awake and arise from the deep slumber of the worldly illusion. Preservation and spread of ancient culture. The preservation and transmission of ancient culture was one of the aims of ancient educational system. Renowned and devoted teachers were engaged in teaching work. Pupils well prepared not only for his life. In this system, students practice education independently, and this helped them in the upliftment of their future life. Chinese pedagogical tradition. The Chinese script is estimated to be over 3,000 years old, and this is the longest unbroken tradition in East Asia. The first school in China appeared in 3000 BC. They were called Xiao and Shu. Xiao developed as the place of refuge for the elderly who were trying to educate young people. Confucius suggests that teachers and their disciplines work together towards self-improvement. Confucius was the first known teacher to develop, implement, and individualize learning approach. Today, this approach of acknowledging that students are individuals with unique aptitudes is one of the top pedagogical trends. The Taoism in pedagogy. Wu Yi, literally not action or not acting, is a central concept of the Taoism. It can mean not doing anything, not forcing, not acting. In the theoretical sense, creating nothingness, acting spontaneously, and flowing with the moment. Egyptian pedagogical tradition. The Egyptian pedagogical tradition, we all probably remember studying ancient Egypt at school, the pyramids and their scribe schools. Professional scribes work like modern lawyers and accountants and were freed from tax. Not only did this, scribes create a base for the thriving culture and heritage, but according to the Greeks themselves, they invented philosophy. The teaching method consists in two steps. First, one learned to copy scripts without knowing the meaning of the writing text. The second step required for teaching to dictate the text. Later, after a student mastered grading, he learned rhetoric, and this was the most important. Your language is stronger than a weapon, say the papyrus text. During the times of the Middle Kingdom, about 2137 and 1781 BC, schooling was divided into lower and higher stage. Reading, writing, and dealing with people was learned in the pyramid school curriculum, and mathematics, astronomy, and religious in the secondary school. The sports include gymnastic and hunting. Now we have the last. It is American pedagogical tradition. American pedagogical tradition. The term American civilization refers to the civilization of the so-called ancient America or pre-Columbian America. Many of them established permanent or urban establishments, agriculture, and complex society hierarchies. Their cultural trademarks exist for more than 2,000 years across ancient cultures from the Olmec to the Inca and the Aztec. Educational tradition of the Inca and Aztec are the best studied so far. Schools for the children of the privilege offer great opportunities for their students. They learn mathematics, astronomy, writing, politics, religion, literature, and history. The teachers were the learned, flamantinem, priests, dignities, and military leaders. The schools differed a lot of their pedagogic and approach to the character educational. They were so different that in some ways they seemed to be opposite and antagonists. Interesting, the elite school, Calmeca, were much stricter.